Evening, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to the Armory TV. Welcome to X. Welcome to All Five Tier Podcast. Let's have a look, see what people are going. Obviously, this show is being done in a slightly different way. Normally, it's a transfer show. This still technically is a transfer show, but I've called it the hard truth, and you'll find out why very, very shortly. Let's see who's in here already. Big ups to Mina. I am doing okay. Hope you're doing well. We'll talk about a lot of people tonight, so don't you worry. We'll talk about this. We'll talk about pretty much every position tonight. Things need to be spoke about. Again, we'll talk about who will be leaving. Left back will cover. Right back, I'll cover now because obviously Ben White will not be sold in this window unless a very, very good offer comes in. We always have backup plans. So, you know, anyone that we never think would leave, but obviously has a price tag. Ben White obviously has a price tag. Majority of our players have a price tag. If someone was to offer that, you know, too hard to turn down, we have backup plans. So yeah, there's a couple of right backs that we do like the look of. They are of a young profile. So yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned. But Ben's not going anywhere. Not this window anyway. BMs again, same whole situation. If I'm honest, left wing we'll talk about. Jesus could be leaving. I've always said this will be the end of August if it was to happen in this window, but because other windows are open at different times, South American, Saudi, you know, other different continents have windows at different times. Don't rule it out for another time if it doesn't happen in August. But there are teams across Europe that are interested in Jesus. So it's something that could possibly happen. I personally wouldn't recommend anyone signing him because he's not going to be match fit at the end of August, but he will be over the worst by the end of August. If people want to take a risk on that, that's up to them. But I personally wouldn't do it, but that's not my decision. What about? We'll get on to people leaving. Kivior, obviously, there was a bid turned down, nowhere near what we were wanting to sell. So with Martinelli, bids have come in, but nowhere near what we're asking for. What we are going to be doing is never going to go, oh, such and such is available for such and such amount, because that weakens your selling position. So it's a case of these certain players that people are not for sale. If that team particularly does want him, then their offer has to be something that Arsenal go, hello, that's a good price there. Let's start getting into negotiations. But if, you know, let's just say, for instance, someone came in for Martinelli for 40 million, Arsenal are not going to bat an eyelid. They'll just go, yeah, he's not for sale. But if someone came in for 60, we would then go, okay, this makes more sense. Let's delve into this and see if, you know, we can get a little bit more. But that's how it works. It's quite funny how people think that just because a club or a person has said, oh, someone's not for sale, means they're not for sale. It doesn't mean that at all. It's all about how you negotiate yourselves in a very good way to be a good selling club. Very much how Liverpool do it. You know, they've got certain players that are not for sale, but they are. So if you want the player, you go in with a good offer, and Liverpool will go, yeah, we'll get into negotiations with this. So yeah, it's very much, again, another one that's been done recently. I just need to double check his value, but Dewsbury Hall, I know a lot of people are losing their minds about how much Everton would pay for Dewsbury Hall, but his market value is 20 million. So you know, it's not a crazy price. It's different if his market value was 10 million and they were paying that much, then yeah, fair enough, that's mental. But no, it's just above market value, so it is what it is. Big up to Gary. Hope you're doing well. Magnus Nissen saying, no, far from it. We will be going into the final week. Guarantee you on that. Big up to Tubaka, who likes the women's update as well. But Matty and James updates. Right. So with the women at the moment, Renee has kind of just assessing players and players' fitness and where their heads are at and all that kind of stuff. We are having conversations with potential new signings, but I think Renee just wants to double check on a couple of things. But we do definitely want a midfielder. But we may need more than just the midfielder to come in. So we have to be a little bit sensible. So the conversations are still happening with Barmarte and James. So let's just wait and see, because it will take time. Hope you're doing well, though, Tobacco. Leo will get on to all these people, I promise. Big up to saying trust leaving. Has Rodrigo dropped his demands? How's it going, Bobby and gang? Who is my left wing preference is Anthony Gordon, actually. I'm sorry. I probably got upset a lot of people there, but he is my preference. I like Anthony Gordon. Always have done. Liked him at Everton. He's done okay at Newcastle. But I do think he would be quite good for us personally. That's just my personal opinion. But like I said, it's all personal opinions and who makes you smile. So that's why people go Rodrigo or Leao or just other people in general. Big up to Dent AFC. Big up to you. Big up to Temi. Yes, Tim, you definitely have to be up very, very early now to get in the comments. Mind you were an hour early as well. So doesn't refine it. Well, you'll see a difference. Now, the reason that we went for Heinze as a coach is one of the reasons why we're changing our tactics. Now, Heinze is a very different type of how do you want to put it? Different outlook on how he likes to play football. And he is kind of adapting the way that certain players play at Arsenal with the outlook that eventually we will have a four-pronged attack and our defenders and midfielders maneuver around that. So eventually you will see difference. It may take a little bit longer just because of what I'm going to talk about shortly. Looking at the transfer saga unfolding over Tesco, I'm glad Berta steered us away from Sloofy and Sikic. Lookman is someone that we have looked at, yeah. No traditional fullbacks at the club because I do well, talking about that quick bring me on to left back. The left back situation, there are out and out left backs we do lack at, because technically we class Ben White as an out and out right back, even though he can drop in as a centre back when needed, because that technically, even I don't agree with it personally, because I saw him at Brighton and Leeds. He's a very good left back, right back even. I have question marks on his centre back ability, if I'm honest. So the right back is fine, but the left back, I do agree with you. We do need a proper left back, and we have got some in mind, as I mentioned. A couple of lads in Syria and Leif Davis from the Suffolk club. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Big up to Melanie saying evening, Bobby. Big up to the gamer. Everyone watching, yeah, big up to the 400 people currently watching, do appreciate it. Big up to my pod brother, hope you're doing well. Big up to John saying Bobbo. 10 until United. Martinelli will be starting. Yeah. I currently, because obviously we play Man United a week this weekend, is that right? Right now, yes. I don't see a situation where Martinelli doesn't start at the moment, I'll be honest. I'll get into that in a minute. Another night gambling with fortunes. Do you hear any ting tings? I don't hear any ting tings. Update. We'll get onto that. I'm just going to go through these comments and then I'll start the what we're talking about. Get antsy about Eze. Anything on Xhaka? Xhaka is a player that you will not see in an Arsenal shirt this season. I will put money on it. If we were to do a bid, in my opinion, it will be a loan back to either the same club or a different club in France. And then he'll be coming in next summer. I just don't see him coming in this summer. I don't even get where the people are coming from regarding if Kivior was to be sold or Zinni was to be sold, he'd come in. But no, he wouldn't, because it doesn't make sense. He is someone that if he was to come in, it will be next summer. Anyhow, there will be some outgoings. They're just taking a little bit of time, which is why we're doing this type of show tonight. So I'll get on to that in a minute. Number one, still number one target. Big up to John. How many Premier League goals does Gyökeres need to score this season to be regarded as a great signing? Oh, well, I don't know. I suppose it's got to be over 20, hasn't it? Surely. It's got to be over 20. That's a tough question, you know. We might need to have a conversation about that. Let's see how he starts, John, and then we might need to talk about it. Oh, crikey, it's going to be a tricky name. Millie Alpius. Definitely not, but appreciate it. I do appreciate the sentiment, but definitely not. Big up to Dermot. Which we at Spurs have to be super busy. You will be. This kind of covers every club, if I'm honest, this show. So we'll get into that in a minute. What's your percentage that we'll get a AM and a left wing? Right now, to get both, 95% that will get both. So yeah, big up to Guna Dom. Great to be in. Big up to you, Dom. Oh, I think you might be a new addition to our WhatsApp group, I believe, if I'm right in saying that. Dermot saying hello to everyone in the chat. Rodrigo joining Arsenal. Bobby, we'll talk about that in a minute. Good evening, bro. Hope it's going well for you. Any word on the backup goalie situation? Are we going to buy a player or going to promote one of Setford, Poroshenko, etc.? Right. This is the interesting one because currently we've still got Hein. I'll explain the situations in a minute. Setford was meant to go out on loan. That hasn't materialised. Poroshenko, I love the fact that it's a very tricky name for me to say, but I do that quite well in all fairness. Poroshenko is a very talented young South American goalkeeper. I personally think whatever we do with the number 3 will be in-house. I don't see us buying anyone. We have spoke to other goalkeepers, but we have got quite a few good ones. We've also just brought a new one into our youth academy, which would tell me that, you know, either Poroshenko or Setford would be the number 3 choice. And in all fairness, let's be honest, number 3s are very rarely used. Very rarely used. I can't think of many clubs that have ever had to use their number 3 choice. So yeah, big up to D Reed all the way from New York. Big up to Tim for joining Brenny's. Yeah, please do subscribe to Brenny K74's channel. That would really be really, really good. We'll get on to all this, I promise, because what is it about? I don't know what that means. About Allah. We should not buy any players. I know it's not good, is it? Premium content possible would have splendid career as a narrator. York man will score 2 tap-ins in 2 seasons. I hope it is, mate. Nobody wants to come to oh dear. Hang on, let's have a look. Can't believe the banter started already. You can tell we're nearly at the start of the season. Here we go. I think you might just need to remind yourself where you finished in the league, though, mate. Just kind of remember that a little bit. You sent excellent stuff. I'd rather be trophless than second to boss. Pick up to Akpos, and finally, anyway, right. Let's talk about some stuff. Right. So a lot of people, I think, are getting a little bit puzzled by transfers and the way that the transfers work nowadays. Now, all you have to do is look at not just us, but every club. Now, one player that I can talk about openly and very confident about how it all worked out is Remo was fully done weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and it took ages for it to go through. Now, the reason is, and a lot of people think, oh, it's because the fee wasn't there, blah, 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 blah. It actually wasn't. It was something else. And it was the selling club. The selling club was struggling to buy a replacement from Remo. Now, unfortunately, for whatever reason, there's many reasons that it could be this season. But a lot of the clubs, and you only have to look out there right now and look at all the different clubs and their transfer activity. Not a lot of clubs are doing activity right now. It will start coming now. This is going to be the month where there's probably going to be a few panic buys, if I'm honest, as well, because a lot of the targets have decided to go elsewhere. There's a lot of competition now for players. That does make things a lot harder. So obviously, we're talking about Arsenal. When it comes to players like Eze, we can have everything done on our end regarding signing him. But Crystal Palace, and I have categorically stated this many, many times, Crystal Palace do have some off-field issues that they're dealing with, as everyone fully is aware. They're also struggling to bring in any players. Now, no club across Europe sells their players without getting a player at least 95% done. So until that happens, Crystal Palace will not let anybody leave fully. So my hope is it will still be done by the weekend, but don't be too surprised if it goes into next week. I do expect some Eze news to drop this week at some point, but you just have to be patient. What no club, even we wouldn't do it. We would not sell Saka without getting some kind of deal in place for a replacement for Saka. So, and I've seen what Chris has just put. Chris, unfortunately for this, I honestly couldn't tell you what the one reason is. It's because it's every club is just struggling. It's a very weird window. It started off quite well for a few clubs. Us, Man City, Liverpool, Sunderland have done pretty well, but it's not been great for a lot of clubs, and it's just you just have to be patient. Unfortunately, I don't know if at the end of this window, clubs might just sit back and evaluate it and go, right, this is where it went wrong here. Why did it take so long to get this player, that player in, to then rectify that for next season? I don't know, because it's there's a lot of money around, but they're just not spending it. It's a really weird one. Now, we'll quickly cover on to Rodrigo. Now, Rodrigo has come back, obviously, for everyone is fully aware that Rodrigo is back at Real Madrid. Now, this was always going to be a tricky deal, and it is going to be a tricky deal. Not just financially, like the actual transfer fee, that's not too bad. There's a few options on the table. There's a possibility of a loan with an option to buy, obligation to buy. The fee is doable by Arsenal for this summer. So there's many options. What is the tricky part is the wages. Now, I have stated it very clearly, so I'm going to need to swig a drink. The wages that Rodrigo gets now is more than what Saka gets. Well, in his new wage deal, you'll see that's probably September time. So the problem that's going to be is trying to work a way around getting Rodrigo as high as possible, but without breaking the wage criteria that we have, because we don't want to sign someone that's going to be paid more than what we class as our number one player, because it would just upset and also cause future problems down the line. So Berta's got this plan where you get the base wage right with a lot of incentives that then will boost his wage. Now, these obviously incentives have to be achievable. So that's a possibility. And that is what I expect will be offered to Rodrigo once we kind of finalize a few bits and bobs. What we also need is this is for just Rodrigo, by the way, one of Martinelli and Trossard to leave. Now, there's a lot of interest in Trossard. There's a few offers that have come in for Trossard. Trossard's is down to Trossard. If he's happy with some of the wage offers that he's been offered, and they're definitely not on the wage that he's on now, or it's an interesting one. So it's very complicated. Right, let's get back into the chat. Big up to Akpos. What is the update on Rafael Leao, Rodrigo or Gordon? Right, I think I've covered Rodrigo. It is complicated. This one I do expect. To be honest, I do expect the left winger situation to be dealt with near the end of August. I don't expect this to be quick. For me, it'll be the last week. I honestly do think this will just be the last week. Maybe delving in slightly before the last week, but definitely the last 10 days of the window for me. Did Rodrigo specifically say he wants? No, that's false. False information. Are we just waiting for Crystal Palace to get El Khanous? This will allow us to complete as a deal. Basically, yes. Crystal Palace need to get a player in. I'm not saying it's going to be El Khanous, but they need to get someone. And as I said, they've got a lot of off the field issues as well. I think the window was so odd due to Dylan. The problem is, and not a lot of people spoke about it, was when that was happening, all the super agents. Now the super agents pretty much involved in at least 95% of the big deals across Europe were all at the CWC. Even if they didn't have clients there, they were there. Now, they need holidays, even though technically that's a holiday, but it's not because they were still working. Everyone just needs holidays. Talk about holidays. Madueke did not come back early, just so everyone's fully aware of this, because that really did knock me when I read that. He was due back. He'd already had a week off. You have to have 3 weeks off by FIFA rules. He had 2 more weeks off, and then he came back. There was not I've cut my holiday short. We needed 2 months to sign Gyökeres. It's over for us. We have not signed Eze. No, I definitely would not be that down on it right now. Gyökeres was a situation that was very different. When I get to September, I will go over the whole transfer window in detail to explain the Cesc Gyökeres situation. Yes, we are very much interested in Lukman Akpos. Well, at the moment, yes. I think Tottenham will still do business, but just not right now. We are fighting for our lives when it is about to sign a player above 50 million who is not from Chelsea. I'm going to guess this is to do with Madueke. Madueke is a very easy deal to do. It's literally a 5-year deal. The fee gets split over 5 years. Chelsea are the easiest club to deal with. when it comes to selling. There is no complications. There is no need for intermediaries to try and sort out issues and stuff. The easiest club to buy from. We've always had a good relationship with them. It was going to only improve when Andrea came back in because he's got a great relationship with Chelsea himself. So, yeah, it's very, very, very easy to do deals with Chelsea. And look, Madueke has a lot of talent. You only have to look just before his Chelsea career to see the talent that he had. If you don't want to do that, look at the under-21 level. He was good at that as well. So I'm not too concerned about it. I know a lot of people are, but I'm not. We just have a good relationship. We have a good working relationship when it comes to conversations. I hope in 2 years this relationship is still there, because I do feel that in 2 years' time we will try and get Hato. So yeah, big up to Akabite. Well, I've seen this. I've seen this palaver. Now, Lookman is alternative for the left wing. Now, as I said on the last show, Lookman and the Spanish dude, I'm not even going to try and say his name again, would be what I call a bandage transfer. So they're only going to be here. Well, they'll be here longer than 2 years, but it will give us time to reassess the left wing situation. There's definitely no one in our academy that can cover this, or all of a sudden come from nowhere and go, "Woo, look at me." So we would definitely have to go out and look for a left winger that is available, who is in our price range, who is talented, who can produce what we need them to produce. So a Lookman or a Spanish dude from Sociedad would be a bandage solution. Leao, Gordon, Rodrigo would be the perfect solution. So yeah, I don't understand where this Lookman alternative Eze come from. It's the alternative for Eze is actually Rodgers. So I honestly have no idea where that's come from. London Rovers and good relations don't look good together. I get it. But I think a lot of fans are probably shocked when a lot of clubs actually get on with each other when it comes to business. The rivalry comes from the fans. So when it comes to business side of it, clubs get on well, and they should do. What's the update on Vieira? Is he? No. He will be. But there's going to be a little bit of negotiating. This could come quite quick. Now, Stuttgart have obviously getting some money in because they've sold Milo to Al Hilal. Probably got that wrong club, but it's going to Saudi. So Stuttgart actually have money, which is quite rare for German clubs, in all fairness. And I think it's about 10 million difference. I think it'd be like 25 million euros personally. So yeah, let's have a look. There is news spreading this evening. Tottenham are interesting, but Casado, how true is this? It's very true. Very much like we are very interested in him as well. He's a player that Arteta has wanted for quite a long time. I know Barcelona are willing to sell him as well, so it could be interesting. Do you think the chances are low currently for Rodrigo to reduce his wage demands? At the moment, yes. Later in the window, maybe. What could be interesting, and this is why I mentioned the loan, is if the loan was to happen, we wouldn't pay 100% of his wages. We would probably pay, let's say, 70+% of his wages, I reckon. So the loan would then work out very, very well for us. And then hopefully in time, once he just understands the way things work in England, he may, because obviously if we go out for him and try and sign him next summer, he may decide to lower his wage demands. So yeah, Arazabal. Is that was there an Arazabal that played golf as well? Any relation? Probably not. Big up to Harry that's reposted the stream. Thank you very much, Harry. Appreciate that. Well, yeah, like I said, I'm not keen on him at all, if I'm honest. If we can do a Band-Aid one, I'd rather have Lookman. But obviously, we all know why this player's been linked. Let's not be foolish. I hope we don't get to that because I would be rather disappointed myself. Do you expect us to sign? Yes, I do expect us to sign 2 more. Find it odd. Liao is seen as third choice. Is this due to attitude concerns? Yes, it is. Work ethic as well. Big up to Oliver. What's up, Bobby? Have you good news regarding Wilshere? I hope Eze will be in before the opening day when we play the Scum, says Neil. Yeah, Wilshere does definitely look like he's returning as the under-21s coach, so that'll be good. When we can hear about outgoing, mate? Hopefully this week, because even I'm look, it's not even Arsenal's fault. You know, we've got prices on players, but teams just have no respect for us. You've probably saw the Kivior bid that came in was 27 million euros, which is just a joke. It's a 40 million, well, probably 40 plus million player, and we were offered 27. It like I said, this is going to take a long time for us to change the way that teams view us as a selling club. It's going to take a long time. To be honest, we need a cam and a striker more than a centre back, left back. Yes, please. I'll top them up for Rodrigo. I think that might have answered your question there, mate. That's funny though. What is the percentage of having either Eze or left wing for the first game against Man United? Well, because you're doing or 99.9%. Will we get more clarity about Rodrigo soon? Would hate for us to chase him all of August and end up with Oyarzabal or no left wing. What date are we on today? 5th. Within the next 2 weeks, I don't see this going on for too long, personally. I just don't. Big up to Helena saying, are we signing as a 99.9%? We are, yes. If it's looking like only Nelson and Vieira are close to leave per Ornstein, which is bad. I don't really care what Ornstein says, if I'm honest with Chris. But Nelson Vieira, Zinchenko's not far behind, Hines not far behind, Trossard's not far. We've got a good few amount of players that are very close to leaving, so I'm not too worried, if I'm honest. So yeah, I know. Thank you very much, Dave. I do appreciate it. So yeah, just what I would just suggest, there will obviously be a show on Friday, as always, and I'm gonna guess it will be a transfer show on Friday, not a hard truth. The hard truth just needs to be done because I think. Oh yeah, Lokonga. I forgot about Lokonga. Lokonga will definitely leave as well. When do you expect? Here we go about Eze. End of the week, beginning of next week. That's my expectation. Chris, just because they're not on X doesn't mean things aren't happening behind the scenes, mate. That's just the way it is. Unfortunately, Ornstein and Romano and Jacobs and whoever else you trust are not the only source of information. There are other people. Are any other players with any other clubs, Bobby? Any of our players? No, not yet. I wish they were. Sorry. Not that I'm very keen to get the players out the door. But no, I do expect it to happen this week with at least, well, I'm going to say 3 this week. Don't want Hines to leave, need spots for alternative teams. To be fair, Hines not a bad player, but he deserves more than being a third choice goalkeeper. He definitely deserves to play at a club. And to be honest, the fee's not huge, and he had a decent season last season on loan. I honestly don't understand the issue. So yeah, I personally would just sell and let him enjoy life, a new club. If we're going to playing a 4-2-3-1 formation, why? That's for some reason the message disappeared. Why is there a panic for a left winger? It's basically playing with attacking players: Eze, Odegaard, Saka behind Gyökeres, Zubi, Rice, Holding. The reason is that our left wing, even when you look at the data, our left wing is not productive enough, not dangerous enough. We need to make sure the focus is taken off Saka and Gyökeres. And you only have to watch last season and probably some of the pre-season games. The focus is defending Saka. So we have to. This is the important part when it comes to Arsenal and the new tactics. Is we need that four-pronged attack because it won't make anyone being doubled up on. So no one's going to double up on Saka because then you're taking a player away from marking Gyökeres or the left winger or the attacking midfielder because you just can't do it. So we're trying to make ourselves very, very dangerous to play against. I am upset over it as I've been so slow. Oh, window, we let a manager down. Patience, mate, when it comes to Tottenham, you will get there. You will get there. It's just a lot harder than, like I said, it's not even just Tottenham, it's everybody. Every club is just struggling to get the players in because no one's willing to let their players go until they get a replacement in, which then is just a knock-on effect. Because if you think about it, right, let's just give you a domino effect, right? We're trying to sign Eze. Crystal Palace trying to sell El Khanous. That means Leicester will then have to get a player in to replace El Khanous. And then whoever Leicester are trying to get that player from will probably also have to get a replacement in. And it's a never-ending, horrendous domino effect. Normally the domino effect is in a good way. When one knocks over, they all knock over. In this one, they're all holding each other back. So, yeah. Do you think Gyökeres starts any of the Emirates Cup? Maybe the second one, which I believe is against Bilbao, isn't it? I think. But I don't think it will be Villarreal personally. We need to make sure Saka is not marked by exactly, Chris. That literally that's why we need someone on that left. And Martinelli and Trossard are just not it. Even Arsenal know that. So the opponents know they do. 100%. Shouldn't the tactics also be updated for the more effectiveness too? We rely too much on the right-hand side, but rarely throw Martinelli a bone by having MLS, for example, overlap sporadically for Gabby to cut in. Again, I agree, which is why we did want a left-back, so MLS can go into DM. However, things just have not panned out the way that we wanted to. The window hasn't been perfect in the last few weeks, but nothing too worrying about. We'll get into it in September, like I said. But yeah, the plan was to get a left back in, but it's not looking that way. Okay, cool. I can honestly say Madueke playing on left wing if we failed. Yeah, well, Madueke is there as a very, very good squad player. He can do 3 of the 4 roles that we're talking about. He can do the left wing, he can do the cam, he can do the right wing. If you don't believe me, just go and watch the under-21s, England under-21s. He's very, very adaptable. Lee Carsley got him him playing amazing football as a roaming, I will just call him a cam, a roaming one where he goes on the right-hand side, the left-hand side, and down the centre. So I know I've seen it in Madueke. The left side is a big problem, in my opinion, would be, why do the messages keep moving? Rodrigo would be a statement zone. And to be fair, all the hard work that we're doing behind us, behind the scenes, we need to make it done. Madueke should start against United. I'll be honest, I'm not against it. Whether it's Saka, Nwaneri, or Downman, there is a double team to try and stop them. The lack of fear for opposition teams. Look at our left side. It's exactly 100%. So yeah, big up to everyone. I will be back Friday. I do expect quite a lot of news by Friday, if I'm honest. but yeah, for anyone that's going to watch the Emirates Cup tomorrow night, enjoy. I know the second game is at the weekend. So yeah, enjoy the Emirates Cup. I will see you Friday. And yeah, speak to you all very, very soon. Take it easy. Bye bye.